everyone. Welcome to another episode of Behind the Scenes of Cookeville Lifestyle. Today, I am joined by my editor-in-chief, Andrew, and our special guest, Diego Alvarez.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here, Diego. Diego has been featured in the magazine several times.
Yeah.
He was featured in So Diego, if you don't know, let me rewind, owns Royal House of Cheese, but he also has a lot of other things we're going to get into. But he was featured in our Fronings issue, our second issue. And we did a how to make a charcuterie board spread.
Clean shaven Diego.
That's
in
right.
This photo.
And we need to do another one of these because I've gotten better with layout since then. So we can make it look better. But Diego owns Royal House of Cheese, which does these fabulous grazing tables. That is art. We talked about that. And then he was also a mover and shaker in our first class of movers and shakers in 2023. The black and white, or no, not black and white, monochromatic black on black, white on white edition, where he was looking pretty fine. So anyway, Diego, we love you and thank you for being here. But I want to go back to the beginning. Diego has a very interesting story that if you haven't read the magazine, which shame on you, you wouldn't know this, I don't think. But Diego was in the military.
I was a medic in the Air Force for 4 years, active duty. I moved to Cookeville when I was in high school. So I graduated Cookeville High School 2010. And I didn't really know where I wanted to go, what direction I wanted to take for my life. And my dad is a Marine. And I was raised with those values. And I never in a million years thought I was going to join the military myself. But after having a conversation with him, he kind of convinced me. And I said, what branch would I join? I just don't feel like I'm Marine material. I wanted to do something in the medical field. So my dad said either join Navy or Air Force. And I went and I spoke with the Air Force recruiter. And my dad came with me, and I ended up joining the Air Force, and I got a medical job, and I really did enjoy it, and I learned a lot. I rotated throughout the hospitals. I did labor and delivery. I worked in pediatrics. I worked in internal medicine, dermatology. I mean, you name it. They just rotated us throughout the hospital. So I really enjoyed what I did. And I just, a lot of friends say, Diego, you have like a servant's heart. You love helping people. That's like my love language is like acts of service. And I just like to cater to people. And I like to be there, especially whenever someone's having a really hard time. So I think that's why I enjoyed what I did. And I think I did pretty good at it.
And where were you? Were you on military bases? Is that where you were? Okay.
So I did my basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio. And then I did my EMT training and intermediate nursing also in San Antonio on an Army base, Fort Sam Houston. And then after that, I was in Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas, and that's where I did almost like my clinicals. So that's where they rotated us throughout the hospital so we can get like a feel for every area of the hospital. As a 4-0, an Air Force medical technician, we have to be ready to be put in any situation and also in any environment or any, like I said, you can be in pediatrics, you can be in labor and delivery, you can be in the ER. So you have to be, a little familiar with each section of the hospital. So
that's really cool.
After that, I got stationed in Nebraska, and I was there for the rest of my Air Force career.
Wow.
Do you see a lot of the care and the techniques that you learned while you're in the military translate well to the way that you serve people through your craft now? Do you still, is that another way of expressing that same affection?
Yes, listening to your client, knowing what they want and being able to deliver it. And it's way different than, attending to someone's, health or, compared to making a cheese board or catering to a party. But, it all kind of goes hand in hand in a way, is customer service and being able to, deliver and, just be there and give them what they want, really.
Yeah. Yeah, you're still making people's days better, too.
Give them good service and put a smile on their face.
Yeah, and you never know how far that's going to go for somebody. You don't know what we're all carrying around, and the simplest acts like that can carry us forward for another day, and maybe
Yes.
that's all we need. You know,
Absolutely.
just to get through one more day.
Some people might just need, a shot, and some people might just need a good charcuterie board,
And I think
Yes.
people, I tell Diego this, I think a lot of people of course, his grazing tables are absolutely stunning, but people would pay for Diego just to be at their event, I think.
I agree.
They want his
you.
presence.
Thank you.
Because Diego's catered to every single one of our lunch parties, and every single time somebody comes up, somebody actually told me that Diego's presence, they were nervous to come, and then they saw Diego and they felt calm.
Oh,
And
really?
I think Diego makes people just feel comfortable because Diego is so just loving towards everyone, tells everybody how fabulous they look. And it's a calming, some people might be nervous to go to these networking type parties or whatever. And having somebody like Diego there helps soften the blow a little.
That makes me feel really good, honestly.
It should.
And I have heard that before. They're like, Diego, you have great energy. You make people feel welcomed and, included and comfortable. And I mean, I love that. I mean, who doesn't want to hear that? Who doesn't want to know that they just, made someone's, anxiety at ease, especially during social events like this, where I get it. I mean, even for me as an extrovert, not so much anymore because I feel like I know a lot of these people at this event. I feel comfortable. But in the beginning, I was kind of nervous to go and, socialize, especially with some of these people that you see them like on the billboards or you see them, some of them are mayors or, part of city council. It can be a little intimidating, especially people that are new to Cookeville, people that are coming to Cookeville that have just started a business and going to some of these networking events. So if I can provide some sort of, relief, anxiety relief, then that's perfect.
Well, you don't know what all the trickle-down effect of that is, too, is because if they're disarmed and they're no longer anxious, they're going to perform better in that setting, and their life may get changed. Whereas if they were uptight and they didn't have that source of comfort to basically make them be kinder to themselves, they might not get the opportunities that they get. So it's when you really dive into the granular part of what you do, it's way more important than it would look like on the surface. Not that it's not important as it is, just looking at it on the surface, but making people feel safe and comfortable and seen has really long-term positive effects, and I think you're extremely, extremely good at that. I think everyone knows that about you.
And I think going back to the question you asked earlier about how maybe my experience in the military as a medic has, kind of transferred over, I think that's probably one of the things that did transfer over is being able to make someone feel comfortable in an environment where they might not, such as a hospital or a clinic. A lot of patients are not comfortable. So that's where that bedside manner comes in, being compassionate, making them feel warm and welcomed. Be like, you know what? You're in a safe space. You're okay. And if I can provide that to people, even if it's in a social, event or situation, I mean, that makes my heart literally, glow and warm because I'm happy I was able to provide that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, let's go back to how and why you started Royal House of Cheese. How did the idea come? You're originally from California.
Yes.
Went to Cookeville High School, joined the military. You're back from the military in Cookeville. Start from there.
So I got back to Cookeville and I wanted to continue in the medical field. So I got a job at Satellite Med. So I really did enjoy working there. It was urgent care. So I was used to that environment as well. And then after that, I actually I've always worked 2 to 3 jobs. I've always, been a worker. I like working hard. I got a second job at the Ford dealership and I was doing customer service there. And the owner at that time, he would bring his kids in to the dealership. I would play with them, and they loved the way that I would take care of the kids. So they said, "Would you like to move in with us and be our live-at-home nanny?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" And that's what I did. So I was a live-at-home nanny for Mike and Michelle Petrello. They used to own the Ford dealership. And so I moved in with them, and I took care of the kids. And they were good friends with Dr. Kinsell, that worked over at Urology Associates with Dr. Moore. And they said, we can go ahead and, get you a job over there at urology and get paid more. And I said, okay. So that's what I did. I left Satellite Med. I worked over there at Urology Associates, and I worked there for about a year, and then I got another job bartending and serving at Crawdaddy's. Eventually, I ended up leaving the medical field because I was making more money as a server and bartender. My nanny family went back to Florida, so that's where I stayed, was in the food industry.
Yeah.
Which also goes hand in hand with all the other, things I did, including customer service at a car dealership and,
Your military experience.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I didn't realize the Ford thing. But I met you when you were bartending in Outback, and I was pregnant with Oakley,
Yes.
and you made me a mocktail.
So I was at Crawdaddy's, then I left Crawdaddy's, went to Outback, and then after Outback, I ended up going back to Crawdaddy's.
Okay.
So I actually met you the first time I worked at Crawdaddy's. But but see, you guys didn't remember me because I remember I had that conversation with Brett. I said, I served you guys a couple of times the first time I worked at Crawdaddy's. Then I really got to know you guys at Outback.
You
And then,
lived on that side
yes,
of town back then.
yes. And I enjoyed working at Outback too. Outback, I had never worked a, like corporate?
Franchise, yeah.
And I really enjoyed Outback. I was an Outbacker. And I feel like I'm an Outbacker for life, and I still go there. I get my cheese fries. I get my blooming onion. It's like really like, nostalgic because growing up, my family for my graduations and everything, they would always be like, where do you want to go? I said, Outback.
It was the fancy place growing up.
It really was. It was. And
in every city, not just Cookeville.
yeah, right. And like I said, I grew up in San Diego, so the Outback was actually right down the road. So for my 8th grade graduation, Outback.
Yeah.
Even for my high school graduation, Outback. Even for some of my birthdays, Outback. So working at Outback was a great experience, and I met and got to really know some of my clients and customers
And Crawdaddy's.
Yeah,
I'm
and at
sure.
Crawdaddy's. And a lot of people say, hey, Diego, how are you so well known in this town? I'm like, well, I've worked in a lot of restaurants and a lot of clinics, so that's
He
probably
does know everyone, for sure.
So I think that's where I made a lot of great connections,
Yeah.
which helped me out later when I started my business with Royal House
And so
of
how
Cheese.
did you get the idea to start Royal House of Cheese?
When I was working at Outback, I was having some of my coworkers over for dinner. And I'm not gonna lie, I got kind of tired of like always cooking and cleaning. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have them over. They care more about drinking wine anyways. So why just not make them like a cheese board? And this is whenever charcuterie boards were just becoming the thing or trending. And so I started doing that. And then all my guests loved the cheese boards I was making it because I'm a natural creative. And they're like, Diego, can you make one of these for, one of my get-togethers, or I'm going to go to my mom's birthday party. I want to surprise her with something. So that's how it started. And I was like, you know what? I noticed on social media that in Australia and some other countries, the charcuterie thing was already a thing.
Right.
I knew it was coming to the U.S. I knew the U.S. was going to jump on that. So I'm like, why not be the first person in Cookeville to do it?
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
So cool.
Amazing. And I feel like in bigger cities too, that was kind of, there were some people doing that.
For sure. I followed some businesses in New York, Miami, LA, and I was like, well, why can't I just bring it to Cookeville, And
So did you just think of the name? How did you come up with the Royal House of Cheese?
I came up with the name and I get asked this all the time. I was watching Game of Thrones at that time, and I was like, okay, so I'm going to start a business. I just need something for like my social media handles. And I was like, why not like the Royal House of Cheese,
I love it.
Game of Thrones, all the Game of Thrones fans out there, each house has like their sigil and their name. I'm like, why not do that? But, because I got the idea of creating a lot of these grazing tables and these elaborate spreads from shows like Game of Thrones where they show royalty just, lounging
what it
and
looks like.
grazing and feasting. I'm like, I can do that. Why not? And so that's really how I got the name, and that's how I started.
And you started your website, and is that where you were taking orders and stuff like that, or was it more just still word of mouth?
So mainly word of mouth. Once again, I knew a lot of people from serving and bartending, and also Facebook and Instagram helped me out a lot.
Yeah.
Because I had that way before I had my website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like once you see what he does once you go to one event where he has a grazing table, people automatically are like, when they think, who do we want to cater our event? They're like, oh, Diego. And you don't just do grazing tables. His grazing tables are elaborate. And like he said, it does, now that you say that, it does remind me of like, Game of Thrones or whatever, where you yes,
The Great Hall and Harry Potter.
yeah, things
Yeah.
like that. And I'm sure they want to hire you just for that. But you also do not just cheese. He does for my parties. I make him do, or I don't make him. We talk about it, and he suggests.
She forces Diego before the party.
Well, at my parties, people really devour the food very fast.
Oh yeah, they love it.
So we were doing sushi, but that got a little pricey.
Yeah.
So we decided to do chicken nuggets, and people love the chicken nuggets.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, obviously, I'm not a chef. I don't cook a lot of these things. For those of you that think I cook that, I don't.
No.
Shocker. I think most of you guys know that I go to Sam's Club or Publix, or I use what's available here in town. Now, when it comes to the cheeses and stuff, sometimes I do order those. Sometimes I go to Sam's Club. Sometimes I go all the way to Nashville to get cheeses. And I'm more of a designer, so I love more food presentation. When it comes to cooking, I love to cook, but more for myself and my friends and loved ones. So in the future, I would love to have a chef, so we could have, fresh made, chicken tenders or meatballs and whatnot, because I started off doing charcuterie and cheese, and now it's become a catering business, and I'm trying to do more things like salads and things like that, and heavier hors d'oeuvres as well. And eventually I would love to get a chef and maybe do full-on entrees. And so right now that's where I am. It's like, where am I going to go with Royal House of Cheese? I want it to elevate it more. I don't want to just always get people Sam's Club sushi, even though it's great quality sushi. Everyone loves it. I love it.
It looks amazing.
And
I don't think
feel
anyone
like
cares.
I present it and style it well.
Yes.
But, it would be nice to hire a chef and have a bigger kitchen and just do more with that. But
You
for
have
right
lots
now,
of good goals, I think, in
Yes.
mind. And you also have, during our summer lunch party, we did it outside at Trackside, and you had a little, what is it called? A station?
yes, it's almost like a charcuterie cart. But it's actually like a little station that we built, and it has the container where we put the dry ice to keep everything nice, fresh, and cold, especially since we're going to be outside. So a grazing table probably wouldn't be the best thing to do for an outside event. So what we did is we created almost like a cart in a way that had all the ingredients, and people would just walk up to it and be like, okay, well, I want this cheese. And they just kind of, pick and chose whatever they wanted. And we gave them a little bamboo boat with, and if we kept the nuts and allergens on the side, so there was no cross-contamination. And it worked out phenomenal, I think.
And that's a new way that you thought of to pivot the business, to be able to
Exactly.
reach more people and do more events, which was really smart.
Which I did not come up with the idea.
That's okay.
It was something I found on social media, and I was like, you know what? Why not do it? I feel like I did it. I feel like I did it better.
You did
And
it
then-
wonderfully. Every idea is derivative of another. I mean, come on.
Absolutely.
In music, in magazine, in every creative.
Yeah, for sure. I can't take credit for everything. Now, some of my designs are original designs. I will say that.
Oh, I'm sure.
But for that, for the cart, I call it a cart. It's really like a station. That was an idea I found on Instagram. A lot of people were sending me ideas and sending me that idea. They're like, "Diego, you need to do this." And so I was like, what better way to debut it than at the Cookeville Lifestyle lunch party?
Yeah.
And that was a great party, by the way.
Oh, it was so fun.
It
We
was
have to do it
It
again.
was so colorful, and I had a great time, and it was just the perfect place to do that.
Yes,
And
it was.
It paid off, and we do offer that. So I just need to promote it more.
Yes, let's
But-
promote it. We have professional photos that you can use from the party.
Yes.
Um,
Abby Whedon.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it was Anna Pierce, her sister.
Anna Pierce.
Yeah, what's her sister for that? Yeah.
Her sister has
That's
been
right,
the
it
photographer
was.
at our parties lately.
I always get them confused. I
twins.
walked up to her one time and I was like, "Hey, girl," at the park, and it was not her. I thought it was Abby, and it was just like, "Oh, I'm her sister." I'm like, "I'm so sorry." They look alike.
They
to
do.
Me. Now that I've been hanging out with Abby more by doing my charcuterie classes,
Yeah.
now I can definitely, But
Yeah.
at first, I got them confused all the time.
They're
But,
good genes in that
yes.
family.
They look
Oh,
so
they're
much
gorgeous.
like their mom too.
They do.
They look so much like
yes,
Allison.
I love her
Yeah,
mom.
she's
Oh, their
such
mom's
great
so sweet.
people.
Yes.
But Diego also does charcuterie workshops, and you've done them before. So he's done a couple at Edison Hills, but you did them before Edison Hills too.
Yes, I did them over at Storyteller House, and then I did one over at the Painted House, and then I didn't do them for a while, and I didn't really have much time to do them. And then recently, Abby came to me. She's like, would you want to do them at Edison Hills? I said, sure, absolutely. So we started doing them there. And well, we did one. We had one scheduled recently, but something came up in my personal life, and we had to move it.
Yeah.
And so
Well, I went to the one and I learned how to make the little rose. What is it called?
the salami roses.
The salami rose. And that was what I was there for.
That's awesome.
And so now I show my friends how to make it.
Yeah, with the champagne flute.
Yes.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
just
yeah.
overlap.
And he'll teach you, and then he sends you home with the little board. You get to keep the board, and you get to keep, he like saran wraps the board. So take the class right before you have an event or a dinner or something, and you can bring the board as your contribution to a little dinner party for people to enjoy. So next time he does one of those, post it on socials so people will find. But also you have other goals. Can we talk about those?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
dreams of where Royal House of Cheese is going to go in the future?
So I feel like my business is pretty well known here in Cookeville, and I love Cookeville. And if it weren't for Cookeville, my business wouldn't be where it is now. But I have been venturing off into Franklin, and I've been doing events over there. And I will say that people in Franklin, they're not used to seeing what I do.
Yeah.
You know, even there, it's pretty unique. So whenever they see them, they're like, we've never seen a grazing table like this. Wow, like, you know, can we hire you for some of my events? And I'm like, yes, absolutely. And what I've noticed is here in Cookeville, people are so used to seeing my work that I feel like it's kind of, I don't want to say it's lost its luster, but, you know, people are just so used to seeing it because I get hired for so many events. Where if I do events in other cities, people are, you know, kind of, you know, impressed still. And they're like, wow, what is this? Who are you? What's your business?
It's a new shiny thing.
It's a new shiny thing. Exactly. Yeah. So I've been doing a lot more in Franklin. I got in with an event planner, Kat Nail. She is married to a country music singer in the 90s, David Nail.
Oh, yeah.
And so she does a lot of, you know, celebrity events too. So I got in with her, and also the chamber in Franklin. What is that, Williamson County?
Yeah, Williamson.
Yep. They approached me at one of the events and they wanted me to join. So I've been thinking about maybe doing that and venturing off into, you know, that area as well.
Yeah,
That's
I'm sure
cool.
you need
Meanwhile, still doing things here. I know, right? We just need a cloning machine. So we have a Diego in Franklin and a Diego here. So
because that's the thing, people want you at the event, not just your table.
yeah,
You are needed.
I've noticed
They want
that.
you as much or more than the table, honestly.
Yeah.
I think they want your presence there.
Yeah.
That makes me feel good.
And then also, I mean, I want Diego to open brick and mortar where he sells cheese and wine and all the things, but we'll see.
And see, when I think of that, I'm like, oh, it sounds great, a great dream. But at the same time, I think about all the overhead. And a lot of people are like, Diego, how come you don't have a brick and mortar? Why don't you have, you know, like a store already? And the thing is, like, it's the overhead. First of all, if I was going to do that, I would have to be on the west side.
You have to be.
That's where all the traffic's at, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, I just feel like my business, and if I had a shop, it would be great there because it's artisan. But at the same time, I mean, we all know how expensive it is to have a brick and mortar there. So that's the only thing that's kind of kept me from, you know, doing that.
Okay, so investors out there,
I know.
get your boy up.
I mean, I do have an idea, and I sent it to you the other day. I
Yes.
said, if I did have a charcuterie shop, this is what it would look like. This is it.
And it would do
But
really well, I think,
do
on the
too.
west side because there's nothing else like that. Like just a place to go. I mean, there's Fire and Vine where they have the wine bar or whatever.
Yeah, of
but
course.
just to have like a little snack, or maybe you don't want to go to a sit down dinner. You want to just
Yeah.
chill and hang and relax.
And if I had a shop, it would be almost like a Subway or Chipotle for charcuterie, but I would also have, you know, things to sell or to sell there, honey, crackers,
Yeah.
things like that, preserves, cheeses, of course, and maybe just like a little area where people can, you know, just relax and maybe, you know, serve some wine and they can,
A little elevated
yeah,
sitting
you know,
area.
just make it like a little elevated now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Not just a shop where you go in and you leave, you know. I didn't want it to be like the, you know, Cracker Barrel country store. Like, I want it to be a little bit more like, you know.
You telling me you're not going to have Dolly Parton's greatest hits around every corner?
No, we'll be playing them maybe.
That's
I mean,
perfect.
I love Dolly, so why
Yeah,
not?
me
We are in
too.
Tennessee, you know
I
your
do
audience.
think Cracker Barrel is the a 180 from Royal House of
I
Cheese
can't
from
think
the
of any
brand.
place.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love going to Cracker Barrel. I love
Same.
walking around the shop and spending hours wasting my time in there because I know I'm not going to buy something,
Yeah.
especially
Right.
overpriced candy.
Does anybody
you know.
buy anything from there? I wonder.
Actually, yes. I know a lot of people that do.
I bought my rocking chairs from their front porch. I will
Yes.
say.
I mean, they don't. I'm not knocking Cracker Barrel. Trust me, I love Cracker Barrel, but I just when I think of my shop, I want it to be more elevated, which I
Yeah.
think we all,
I mean, again, Game of Thrones. Now that you said that, that's what I'm going
Makes
to
total sense.
associate with your brand
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah, you walk into the shop, you're gonna have to like walk in with a candelabra, it's very like moody, just candle lit everywhere, grapes draping.
You have to have a sword at your side.
Yeah, I know exactly, and a shield.
That's how you get the grape off the vine.
Yeah. Serve the wine in big,
Big goblets.
goblets and chalices.
I'm in.
Yes, that sounds fabulous.
I'm kidding. I'm really not.
When are we opening? I'm in.
No, listen, I would be there a lot if this opened. So anyway, well, Diego, thank you so much for being here. We love you, and he will be setting up at our next party, and I'm sure you're going to see him around town at all the events. Hire him for your events.
What's the best way to hire you, Diego? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
So right now, just go through Instagram. I got hacked. See, a lot of people don't know this. My Facebook got hacked.
Yes.
Okay. So allow me to kind of like, take this opportunity to let everyone know.
Please.
My Facebook got hacked. My personal one got deleted by Meta, gone forever. Goodbye. And my business one, the hackers still have control on it. So if you follow Royal House of Cheese on Facebook and you see something crazy being posted, it is not me. I've tried to email them. I've tried to get in touch with Facebook. They have not been very helpful. I'm just going to have to create a whole new one.
I've got you a contact.
Yes. And I'm just like, oh, gosh. So that's that. Then, of course, last month was not a great month for me. There's a lot of personal things that happened and a lot of traveling, a lot of sickness. But my website also went down during that time. The domain is paid for, so it's almost like a customer service thing. So I have someone doing that to figure that out. So right now, just message me through Instagram until the website is up, which that should be within the week. And then that'll be done. But Facebook, try not to message Royal House of Cheese on Facebook because I am not able to get those messages right now.
And this reminds me real quick. When you weren't posting on Facebook or something, many people reach out to me and like, is Diego okay? Like, I haven't seen him on Facebook or on anything. I'm like, I think he's fine. I mean,
yeah, people thought that my business wasn't around, like it failed. Some people thought I was dead. I mean, I was like, no, guys, I'm alive. My business is good.
It's a normal day getting hacked.
I'm not going to lie. And for those of you that are entrepreneurs, you know how stressful it can be. And, doing this since 2018
It's probably awesome to have your Facebook gone in a way.
Not going to lie.
I've thought I'm gonna keep Instagram, but for my music, I've seriously toyed with just yeeting that
social media
trash heap into the.
It drains you sometimes. And I'm just like, you know what?
Facebook is my blood pressure elevator.
breathe.
Lay back and
It's a good mental health break. But then on the other side, are you like, I spent all these years building
I know.
this
That's why I haven't done it yet.
page, and now it's gone?
I know.
It's infuriating.
Oh, trust me. I know.
It's a balance.
Yeah.
But maybe we can get it back. I'll hook you up.
I broke a couple of my, decor that I use for my business.
You broke it.
Sometimes you need to break some things. Yeah.
Like my whole garage was just like those places you go and pay where you can just go and break things and bring like a sledgehammer and goggles. You're like breaking things. That's how I felt. I'm like, I was so frustrated.
Aggression therapy.
Yes. Like you said, so many years building up my Facebook and getting people to follow me. You know how many times I went to a bar, I'm like, hey, follow Royal House of Cheese on Facebook. Here, give me your phone. I'll follow it for you. And then all that just gone overnight. And for those that already know me, I'm technologically challenged. I'm not good with technology anyways. And I have really bad ADD, so I'm all over the place. So this is the last thing I needed to happen. But you know what? It's fine. That's what happens. If this is the worst thing, it's fine. I just have to make a new one. We'll get over it. We're good.
It'll be fine.
Go follow the new one once you see it's up. If there's random things posted to the current one, disregard. But we love you, Diego, and thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Diego.
I love you guys.
Love you
Thank
too.
you.